Yeah. Now again.
Uh, Hello, my beautiful viewers on E360. I also would like to say hello to all my diamond beauties and Tanzanite heroes. Oh, look here, my diamond beauties. Who we have today. Today we've got beautiful Barbara, our wisdom keeper, to come and tell us all about her book, Letters from Grandmother. We are so excited. So, my beautiful diamond beauties, you are welcome to post. We are live. We can read each other's comment because when it's Krista's time as the co-host and she sees a comment, she will read your comment. So please give us some love. So first of all, my beautiful Barbara, welcome to
Thank
the
you. Thank
Soul
you.
Diamonds author's journey. And we cannot wait to find out all about your beautifulness with this amazing book. But I am going to ask my beautiful co-host to introduce himself. So first of you, my beautiful Rosebud or Krista, then Life Force or Laura, and then my miracle man or our miracle man, Howard. Then we take it from there. My beautiful Krista.
I'm so excited to be here. So, yes, my name is Christa Rose. I come from Canada, Ontario, and I wrote the book Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure. And my tagline is Cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love. And I do this because a lot of times things are holding us back. So I help you shift your mindset from a place of pain to passion and purpose. I'm an international speaker, obviously a TV co-host. I do energy work in many modalities and a healthcare advocate. And most importantly, I'm just so excited to be here to celebrate you, Barbara, and your book. And to be here with my other co-host family.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Brennan, Ballet. Barbara, I'm super excited for this. As Howard did say, we're all like-minded, but I've tapped into this world since I've been a kid. So I'm really excited to hear the questions and really listen to how you respond to them. But I am from the USA, born and bred. I love the United States of America. We are going through a lot of different changes right now. So I love the opportunity that Miss Sanet gifts us all to come together, to tell stories, to share wisdom, to really impart knowledge so that it can elevate and change our lives. So like everyone on the panel, E360 host and speaker and coach, etc. I know, Sanet, I don't like to talk about myself too much here. So onward to Howard.
Thank you, my life force. I'm Howard Brown. I am Mr. Shining Brightly. I am an Amazon bestselling author. I am an international award-winning speaker, and I have a top 1% podcast, The Shining Brightly Show. And unfortunately, I'm now a 3-time cancer survivor, and we all get knocked out in life and in business and in health. And the idea is to get back up again and again. And I'm new to this energy healing and learning and love energy. And Barbara, your book, the fill-ins from Sanet, it helped lift me up. And so I want to tell you, I'm already learning from you. You are my teacher, and we are grateful to you be here. But before that, Sanet, please introduce yourself, my dancing queen butterfly. Tell us who you are, Miss Voice Amplifier. Let's hear it.
Thank you, my beautiful Howard. So, my beautiful ones, I am your voice amplifier. I create space and stages for millions of incredible souls around the world to come and share their wisdom, their brilliance, and their transformative stories to bring joy, love, and happiness into our world. I've wrote The Hero Inside of Me, the monarch the Flight of the Monarch. I'm so sorry, I had to look at my book quickly. So for me, this was a 2-year project that I done with so much love. So thank you so much, my beautiful miracle man, my beautiful Barbara. May I ask you, please, can you introduce yourself? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I'm um, I'm an Australian lady, and I live in New Zealand. I have I'm a grandmother and a great grandmother. I've got 11 grandchildren and two and a half great grandchildren, and our children live in 4 countries, so that makes it difficult. My husband is my second husband. I'm a I'm an author, obviously. I never conceived myself as an author, and when my granddaughter from New Zealand saw my book, she said, "Grandma, are you an author?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm an author." So um, I, I've had a spiritual journey of 40 years. That's 4 decades. I was 30 before I was introduced to spiritual awareness through a teacher. Before that, I was just doing stuff that I didn't know what stuff was. And then I got formally trained and writing a book. So most of my story goes in two parts. My personal story happened in Australia. My spiritual journey happened in New Zealand because I've been flitting from both countries for about 35 years. So that's I'm a medium clairvoyant. I will tell you that. I was trained up 40 years ago as. Um, I've I've got my own quite successful Facebook page at the moment, and a new website and a podcaster. I'm a podcaster. At 71, I'm a podcaster. So that's me.
Wow, incredible. So I've got messages from Marie. She said, "Hi, everyone. Beautiful Julie is here. Julie Diaz from New York." She said, "Hello from New Jersey or New Jersey, New York." I will consider New York, New Jersey. And then beautiful Christiana. She said, "So excited for this episode. Hi there, beautiful divine beings. I love you all." So, yes to all of you, my beautiful diamond beauties. Mwah. And look who's in the house. Howard is here. We are so happy, Howard, you are here. So, my beautiful Barbara, if I can start with my first question, and then we will go to Krista and Laura and Howard. When people read your book, what is the most important experience that you would love the readers to be able to experience your book?
I, I believe my book is about my motto in life. And I've been working in this field for 40 years, well, thereabouts. And when I dissect what I've done and the purpose behind it, is to bring empowerment to those who seek. And it's to get people to understand that we can go through immense trauma, and I've been lucky or unlucky enough to have had that, and that doesn't stop us from being our magnificent self. We were born magnificent, we are magnificent, and we will die magnificent. It's just how we perceive ourselves through our experiences. So when I wrote the book, it was just about the life of a medium clairvoyant. That's all I wanted to do. And I've got a very, very dear friend of mine said to me, "But you have to put your personal story in." I said, "No, absolutely no. It's too dark. It's too yuck." She said, "Barb, but you have to." And I said, "Absolutely not." This went backwards and forwards. And for me to get out of an argument, I always say, "Look, how about I go away and think about it?" Which means that's it, it's over, it's finished. And so that night I went to bed, and I call them my people. So you might call them guides, I call them my people. I said to my people, well, what do? I can't put it in. It's too black. It's too dark. And they didn't answer. But next morning, I woke up with, how can you write a book on spiritual awareness and spiritual philosophy without forgiveness in it?
Mm.
Now, being an Australian lady, well, being an Australian, not necessarily a lady, I told them to 4 letters. One starts with F and the end ends with K, off, because I did not want to hear that. I just didn't want to hear it. So in goes my story, and
It's great.
so it's got my spiritual journey from when I met my teacher Crystal, when I was 30, and I'm coming up to 72 now, and so I've woven through my personal story to its ending, and it's got a good ending, and um, so it the message in there is it doesn't matter who you are, where you've come from, what's happened to you. You are magnificent.
Yeah.
You know that there's a saying. I need to tell you, I suffer from a little bit of brain rot, and sometimes it gets taken away. It's just come back. Now that's unusual. I and the Father are one. All that the Father is, I am. All
Mm.
that the Father has, I have. I am God's expressing God itself. And
Mm.
so, with that, is the
Beautiful.
message I'd like people to take. I'm
Beautiful.
not special. I just do stuff. And we all do stuff. And if I'm special, I have to tell you, millions of you out there that are looking, you're as special as I am.
I love it. This is from my heart to yours. Thank you. You are incredible. So beautiful, Rosebud. There's some comments. You're welcome to go through the comments and then ask your question.
Yes, we have uh, begin with guidance says, how can you write a book without forgiveness? So absolutely. Coach Eve says yes. So when you were talking, she was identifying, and Marie says back to, I love that. So everything you said, she loved. So they're really, really, really enjoying it. And when you were talking, it it's no coincidence that that came back to you,
Mm.
because as you were talking, I was connecting with it in such a deeper level. And so, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing that with us. And like I said, it is no coincidence because yeah, I really connected, and I know the viewers as well. But I will start off with in the beginning. There's this saying or quote you have. So I'm going to quickly read it. It says, "Come to the edge," he says. "We are afraid." "Come to the edge," he says. They came. He pushed them,
Yeah.
and they flew. And when I saw that, I recognized the importance of us getting outside of our comfort zone instead of staying inside the box. And sometimes we need a little bit of a push, a little bit of a guidance, that little whisper that says it's okay. Our intuition telling us, and that's a lot what I got. So tell us a little bit about why you put it in, and some of the background that when you
Oh,
found that, why you put it in.
that saying actually is on the last page of my book as well. It is really that important.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my history and my upbringing, I come out of an alcoholic family. I come out of a very, very, very poor family. And I was the third child of five, and I'm just going to be really blunt here, if I may. And I was the unwanted child. So
Hmm.
there was a whole pile of stuff happening. Um, and if I can just give you an overview of my early years, if I may, this is the
Absolutely.
darkness. I was molested at 4, 5, and 6. I was raped at 12, and I had a baby taken away at birth at 16. So quickly, I didn't even hear him cry. So that was my first introduction into the world. And coming from a family that I did, I wasn't able to talk about anything in there. And come to the edge, he said. Well, don't we all go to the edge sometimes? The other thing I'd like to tell you all, without being too out there with it, is that I have tried suicide many times.
Hmm.
Um, it, I'm here. I didn't want to be here. I've tried what have you. But that all comes from being broken, from actually being broken. So I married, went on to marry the father of my baby, and we went on to have two more children. And so I have three sons that are full brothers. The happy ending to that is when my son was 43, he found me. And he's now, last week he was 55, and he's still in our lives. So there is a happy ending to that, but it's the in between. Come to the edge, he said. We all go to the edge.
Hmm.
Some of us, it is too hard, and we don't fly, we walk away. But sometimes the divine God, universe, angels, don't care what you call it, holds a hand and allows us to fly. So, from a little girl, that when I was writing my book, I rang my niece and I said, Michelle, no little girl should ever have had to have gone through that. And she said, no, they shouldn't have. So, for those out there who have had similar to that, and there's millions of you, darlings,
Hmm.
we are the magnificent ones. We're here. We
Yeah.
do magnificent things every day. Come to the edge, he said. I can't come to the edge, he said. He pushed and they flew.
Hmm.
And that's in all our lives. In all our lives. Our spiritual, because we're spiritual all the time. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're a spiritual being having a human experience. And so we're fine. It doesn't matter how far we go or how bad it looks. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Because all the good passes, all the negative passes. So that's what it means to me.
That is, everything you said, I was able to relate to and had those such aha moments. But I really want to take one moment here to honor you and to thank you for being so vulnerable on live TV because the amount of people out there right now, later on, months and years, as this show continues to run and run, are going to look at you and say, she made it. She worked through her pain and she found her purpose and her passion. And they're going to be inspired to just take that one more step. So I really, really wanted to honor you and thank you for that. It was very touching. And,
Thank
to be vulnerable takes a lot of courage.
you.
I'm going to say a couple more people. Marie says, we all go to the edge. Yes, the divine holds our hand and allows us to fly. Wow, so beautiful. And then we got a whole bunch of emojis. um, so, yeah, absolutely. everybody's really enjoying it. And the shifting of when you're talking about the pain part, but then also how it made you to who you are today is phenomenal. And we're so lucky that you are here. So thank you so much, and excellent answer, and so excited to keep learning more. Laura.
All right, so I'm usually not at a loss for any words, as my fam here knows, but I have so many questions, and Krista and I are always aligned with our quotes. That particular quote I have had on my wall since I've been probably 14 years old. And
Wow.
I think about it often, really being brought to the edge. For me, one or two things happen, right? You're at a hard stop and you're teetering, or you really do grow the wings and you take flight. And that doesn't always mean that flight is in perfection by any means,
Oh,
but you begin to build that confidence and that strength. And for me, I think what you exemplify is a bravery, no different than a warrior who goes into war, into battle, and figures out the tools and the skills needed in order to um, really become a champion of that war. And I think you, just as a great grandmother and a grandmother and a mother and all of what you've been through, again, there's your threading is in the human experience, which I think why, as Krista was saying, so many of us will relate to it. Something that you wrote in the book that really hit me. So I understand where you're coming from, the conversations that you have access to, and a very unique way of looking at life. So I hope I can come around to ask you a question about that after really walking in two worlds, which is
yeah,
amazing. But you wrote about personal trust.
yeah,
And for me, as an empowerment coach, in order to empower the collective, those two words that you wrote as an author, as a storyteller, but most importantly, as not a survivor, but
no,
again, a warrior. You really are. You wear that shield through this book for me. That's how I took it because of some similar childhood experiences. So personal trust is very different, right, than courage and clarity and bravery and all of this. Personal trust is such an internal discovery, an exploration, and almost that you have to come upon it in your own unique way, but it's life altering when you do. So I thought those were two words through all of the wording in your book that really hit me to know truly just who you are and what you're about. So, can you please share with all of the listeners now in real time and in our future? Personal trust is very different than anything else. It's a very unique journey to come upon it, to know it, and to authenticate it through writing. Can you share your thoughts around those two words, but really the energy that's contained within what that meant to you?
are you also talking about personal responsibility?
Yes, but I still think even personal trust, coming
Yeah,
from what you came out of
I
to
I, I think
feel.
I think personal trust comes from something deep down that you know the difference between. I'm not just talking right or wrong. I'm talking about fairness, rightness, righteousness maybe. It's about that intrinsic awareness that we are more than just this. That when you can't rely on those around you who are there to help you, to save you, that you find your own strength, but it's more. It's there's the difference between knowing something and having the knowing of something. The knowing comes from here, and it resides behind the back of the heart. So
Mm,
it's just that, I often also talk about right action and right thinking.
mm,
And if I could just elaborate on that a little bit. When I say to people, when I used to do sermons in churches and stuff about right action, right thinking, people would say to me, "Oh, I knew it was right that I did that. I knew I was right." And I said, "You haven't got it. You haven't got it. Right action with right thinking, I have discovered, not just, but through my personal world, I lose out initially. I lose initially, but I gain long term because I did the right thing." And if I could give an example of this, my younger sister, passed away in a car accident,
mm,
and she had much, much different spiritual beliefs than I did, much, much different. And she was incredibly vocal about it. Now she's passed away, and I have to decide whether to go to her funeral. And so the right thing to do was to go to her funeral. That's the right thing to do. Everybody told me, you must go. You'll never forgive yourself if you don't go. I had to go into contemplation, and I
mm,
said, is it the right thing to go to her funeral? And I got really, really upset, really restless and inside. Then I asked a different question. And this is the idea. What is the right thing for my sister about me going to her funeral? And it was that I wouldn't go because it was the right thing for her. Now, where I lost short term was that I was excommunicated for the last time out of my family. That was it. But that was about 20 odd years ago. And ever since I made that, I've had internal peace because I
mm.
did the right thing for her. It would be so wrong for me to turn up where she hated me and who I was so distinctly that it was the right thing for me to let it go and be at peace. So right action comes from right thinking, but we've got to ask a different question. What is the best thing for the other person? And normally it is that we walk away. Are we going to lose? Absolutely. Are we going to win? Not at all. But long term, it brings us peace.
Mm. I love
Yes.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And that's why that personal trust. And I love how you said it's tucked away behind the heart. And not every person will understand what you so beautifully articulated, but I knew those words for me in the writing process allowed me to have an insight into the depth of who you are. And again, it's different than self accountability,
Yeah.
personal
Oh,
responsibility.
yes.
You have to have such a relationship with self in order to step up to do what is right for someone else at the expense of that moment of self-serving. Um, and I talk about thought energy all around the world. That's where my expertise is. So that thought process is really a directive of that personal trust that what you're doing because you are able to live with yourself freely within that choice. And I think that is such an empowering message for what we're talking about here. So thank you, Barbara. Beautiful.
Thank you. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not an easy thing to come to because we do live in our ego. We do live in self. And to be able to ask a different question means we have to let go of that ego. We have to let go of that what's right, what's right. See, I was right. I told you I was right. But we have to let that go to find the essence of truth in what is right.
Again, very brave move.
Thank you.
Mr. Howard.
So So, Barbara, I want to tell you that, first of all, I want to read that Laura, your questions and words are beautiful. Barb, your answers are resonated with them. So you're touching people's hearts and ours as well. And the right way does not mean the easy way. And a shout out to Christiana Carr, who is my magic poet, who wrote me a poem and sent it to me and lifted me up. And so I always talk about lifting self up before you can go lift up others. And I want to tell you that reading your book has lifted me up. You've taught me. You've been my teacher. And I got things written down, and I wrote down live life personally. So as a segue from Laura, and now you helped define that for me. So I really appreciate that. Because it's not going to come back around until the speed round, I have two things for you. Fear and guilt have played
My
such
two
a
most
role
favourite
in
subjects.
your life, have played such a role in your life. I'd like you to share briefly a little bit about that, because I felt it. I felt it in your book. And if you buy the book too, you'll feel it. Go buy this book. So, anyways, please share that with me, and don't just tease them. Just tease the audience,
Okay.
because I want them to buy your book. Okay.
Okay. Fear and guilt, my most wonderful, wonderful subject. Fear, false evidence appearing real. That's all it is. Once you face your fear, whatever your fear is in the future, right? And so you get up to it, you do it, and now it's a fact. It worked or it didn't, right? So fear becomes false evidence appearing real. So we always fear and I call it our two bedfellows. So let's say my husband and I go to bed. There's six of us. So I go with fear and guilt in myself. He goes with fear and guilt in himself. No wonder we need a queen size bed, because it's just too many of us, you know. So guilt is a memory of an action in the past.
Yeah. Love
Guilt
that.
is a memory of an action in the past. It's not. It doesn't make any difference because it's in the past. Can't alter it, can't change it, can learn by it. But I know we humans, we love guilt. We just love guilt because it makes us feel like we're doing something, and we need to, have this penance for the past. That's all guilt is. It's a teaching tool to what to never do again. But I know we say I feel guilty because of. It's only a memory, folks. It's a memory of an action. That's all it is. So guilt is the past, fear is the future, and you're in the present.
Nice.
That was a wow. Oh my God. Thank you for that. People are going to now, I mean, that was what I was looking for. It was beautiful. I want one last small short question, is that I read this quote you included by Maureen Williams about playing small does not serve the world. Please add more to that.
We were not born to be small. We were born small because that's the only way we can do it. We can't come as a 6 foot person. My son is 6'3". There's no way I could birth him. He had to come as a baby, right?
Definitely not.
Just ain't going to happen. So we are born as a small person, but we are not born small. We cry loud. And if our needs aren't met, we cry louder, so we will be noticed. And as
Mm.
life goes on and gets smacked out of us somehow, then we act small because we're afraid of our bigness. Now, there is an expression, show me the boy slash girl, but show me the boy at 7 and I'll show you the man. Because who we become by 7 through society, our peers, our schooling, don't do this, don't do that, you can't fly your own flag, was one I got, your head's too big, you will never fit through the door. All this creates us as smallness. So for me to survive, I have to survive as smallness. And so what happens after 7, and I'm no psychologist, this is just what I've been told. What happens after 7, we regurgitate that information we've got and we keep giving it to ourselves. Society doesn't ask us to be small. Our history and our talking asks us to be small. But you know what? I'm too big a lady to be small. I'm far too overweight to be small. Let's get a face on it. So,
Oh
so
my God.
playing small doesn't serve anybody's purpose, but it does allow us to hide.
Yeah.
Yes.
It allows us, and I was going through a little bit of a time, and I went and saw a very dear friend of mine, who I call him my son-in-law that I never had, and he always gets so exasperated with me, exasperated. So this must have been about 7 years ago now, 8 years ago, and he said to me, Barbara, Barb, you so exasperate me. He was fuming from smoke everywhere. And he said, you are one of the most intelligent, spiritually knowledgeable women I know. And you're not working. Get to work. Get to
Mhm.
work. And then he said, your audience is waiting. Your audience is waiting. Now, this is my story, but it's everybody else's story as well. Okay? I'm just telling by example. So I wrote that down. I wrote that down on a piece of paper and it carried through. Now, 18 months ago, I got scammed. At 70, I got scammed of every dollar out of our 6 bank accounts. It was all gone. My husband's working full time. My body's not working so well anymore. And what can I do? This is my fault. I had to do something about it. So I thought, then Joey, his words, your audience is waiting. So what came up out of that was, um, um, I better do a podcast. I better get my stories out there because I'm a storyteller. It's only so much one can write in a book. And so I thought, see, I love what you've been saying about me, but I'm going to disagree on one part. I don't have a purpose. I just fall into everything. I just get out of bed and I fall into something. You
That
know,
is your purpose.
it's like, oh, I'm not, I'm obsessed, but I'm not driven about. And it's like, really, Barb? Did you do that? I had three summers in 1 year. I went to the Greyhound terminal at LA on my own as an Australian woman, and the ticket man, he was so angry at me that how dare I be on my own. He said, "You go over and wait there. Your bus leaves at 10 o'clock. Don't you know this is one of the most dangerous places in LA? And you're here on your own." Now I leave at 10 o'clock. You'll be on your butt. I don't move from there. I will keep an eye on you. It's like, so why did I do it? Because I forgot that you weren't supposed to. You see, it's all. Somebody told me I could live in America with no money for a month, and I did. I just went ahead and did it because I don't do things on purpose. I fall into stuff. So, so go back. So then I thought, well, I've got to have a reason for doing a podcast, right? So I go, well, what do I know? Well, only spiritual stuff. That's all I know. 40 years, that's all I've ever focused in on. Because I live this as well as teach it, as well as do readings and stuff. So I go, ah, spiritual stuff's pretty dumb. Can't just have spiritual stuff. I'm a little crazy. So then what popped into my head was the old girl spiritual stuff. And I go, oh, huh. That four-letter word came out again. And I go, well, I am old and I am a girl, so that sort of makes sense. So it was the old girl spiritual stuff.
So
So
cool.
then, so then I put it up. I had to create an email, so I did put it up on YouTube, and then because I don't walk very far anymore, I'm looking for two new knees. Any new knees out there? Please donate my way. And so I sit in the car while hubby does, and I thought does the shopping. I thought, oh, you know what? I might just sort of play around with Facebook. So they go do this, so I did that. Being intelligent, they said do this, I did that. And they go do this, I did that. And they go press the button, and I press the button. I go, I'm bloody live. What the hell happened? Hubby comes back and he goes, are you okay? I said, I got a Facebook page, Den. What
So
happened?
cute.
I have no idea. I just followed the instructions and I pressed the button. I'm live. Can I tell you within 4 months I've got 5,000 friends and and I had 4,000 followers, so something happened that worked. But
Ooh.
it's about, you know what, if you were to ask me your purpose, I'm telling you now, I reckon as a 70, nearly 2-year-old, everything you do and say is your purpose. Everything you do and you say is your purpose.
Yep.
Because there is no coincidence. I and the Father are one. All that the Father has. So if the Father and I are one, then everything that comes out of my mouth is Father's words. So,
This was incredible. Sorry, Howard, you are muted. I just need to give this to Barbara. Barbara, what you
Oh,
just
yeah.
said is profound. Can we have paparazzi for you?
Sorry.
Howard?
Oh, hold on one sec, Howard. Are you still there? I think he just froze for a moment. Getting ready for the speed round.
I know.
Can you hear me?
Now
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
Okay. So, is it speed round time, or do you have a question, Sanet?
Actual fact, there's time for Laura or Christa to ask a short question, and then we can quickly do the speed round. So,
Go
Christa?
ahead, Krista.
I will make it short, even though I didn't want to. So first of all, I can so identify with so much in your book, but this one particular part, it says, if you feel separated from God,
God, who
who
moved?
moved?
I
And
love
I
that.
say this a lot because when you're in a state of happiness and joy and bliss, and I feel closer to God and love. But then when you're in a state of resentment and anger, and all that negativity, you're more away from God. And it's true, God never moved. So when you put that in, it was just like, oh my goodness, mic drop there. So it's, I guess I'm just going to make that a statement. And if you want to explore anything with that, we would love
Very,
to.
very quickly. Many years ago, about 30 years ago, I was in New Plymouth in New Zealand, and I just had my radio show, which I got for 3 years at Clairvoyant every fortnight. And I went to this seminar, and not much came out except this: God means geometry of divinity. So God is the mathematics, because the universe is made up of mathematics, right? And so if God is within everything, and if you have a look at atoms and molecules are protons, neutrons, and void. And protons, neutrons, there's another one, and void. So then I figured it out, because that's in every molecule, is that the void must be God. If God's within me, God must be the void, which is the geometry of divinity. And
Love that.
so, sorry, what was that saying I said?
It
Is
was, if you feel separated from
yes.
God, who
So
moved?
how can you feel separated if God is in every molecule of your body? It is us that moves ourselves. And how do we move
Exactly.
ourselves? Through fear.
Yes.
Because you've only got
False
love and
evidence
fear.
appearing real.
And we're exactly evidence appearing real. So what it must be is that the fear closes us from the connection from our perception, but it doesn't actually remove us. It can't, because God's within us. God says, "I know your thoughts before you think. I'm closer to you than breath itself." So that must be in the void of every atom.
Wow. Wow. That was
Beautiful.
just outstanding. Thank you for those insights. And I know Howard is going to be doing his speed round.
I
Just
don't know
one
yet. I
second.
think we have one more.
Yeah, just one second. My beautiful Laura, will you be able to read all the comments of the amazing comments that Barbara and us have received?
I'm not sure where we left off.
Well, Christina said it's me, and I put my shade or my glasses on.
Let me see. Hold on. Everything you do. And no, we're coming up. Hold on. I've got to find out where we are now. So sorry. I can't find because there's so many. No, I don't.
Start at 439 with Maria Bailey.
Yeah, we act small.
Oh, yeah. You fall out of bad and fall into your greatness and purpose. Love. Then lots of emojis. I love you, old girl. You are fantastic. You are a fantastic storyteller. Everything you do and say is your purpose. Profound.
Love it. Thank you, my beautiful Laura. And if there's still time, remember you will go for the last question. But now it's drum time. A speed round by our beautiful miracle man. And we are so honored, my beautiful miracle man,
Yeah,
that
we
you
are.
are out in the hospital, and you doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm so honored, Howard. So
Oh,
honored.
Barbara, this is my honor too. So this speed round, I'm going to have 5 words, and the
Yep.
first word came up earlier, but it's a word that I'd like a short answer is the word vulnerable.
Human.
To be human. Wow, that's amazing. I want you to. I speak of this in my book, and I talk about it a lot. Is what we can learn from darkness, but really what we need is light, darkness and light.
You cannot know the light. You cannot know how to work with how to eradicate the dark unless you've been in the dark. Only when you've been in the dark or lived in the dark do you understand the light. If you cannot understand what a good marriage is unless you've had a good and a bad marriage, then you can make your choice. But if you haven't lived in the dark, and the dark gives you empathy and compassion and an awareness and an understanding and a deepness of appreciation, you cannot do that just by living in the light.
Learning from the dark to get to the light and share that light. Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you for that. You have a quote here that says, "Think from the heart." Think from the heart.
That's a really hard one for a lot of people, and I found over the decades it's been hard for me because the heart means a hurt, and the heart means pain, and the heart means damage. And so it's moving into that and knowing that it can't hurt you anymore because it is, remember the past, it's only a memory. And so when you live through the heart, you're living through vulnerability, you're living through truth, and it's living through your experiences and not just head knowledge.
Thank you. And a paparazzi moment, of course. So the other thing that I wrote from your book was that, are your eyes open?
Ah, yes. We okay. I created a saying. I've met so many people who die at 30 and get buried at 70.
Yeah.
Ooh!
And we are not living, we are surviving. And we need to do more than survive. Survive, we're still a victim. If we're surviving, we're still a victim. And but we need to thrive and to move on past that. So we have to follow our heart. Now, one of those things, as you've noticed, I've got this amazing view behind me. And if you didn't like it, I didn't know what to do because the other side's the same. I live in a house bus, and it's an 11-meter house bus, and this is my view. But it's follow your heart, but also be aware of right thinking, right action.
Yeah, I love that.
You've
And
got
my last one, because I know we're running out of time and the paparazzi lights are coming on, is the word miracle.
miracle is you and me.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
We,
That's
we are the miracle.
beautiful. Just
I
beautiful.
forgot to
Thank you,
press the
teacher. Paparazzi,
paparazzi.
come on, let's keep. Thank you, Barbara. You are sage wisdom, and I'm learning so much, and I just can't. I going to go to your Facebook page. Going to go to your website. I have your book. It's just incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Over to you, my dancing queen butterfly, to wrap it up.
Thank you, my
Beautiful.
beautiful Howard. Thank you, beautiful Laura and Krista. And then thank you to all the Diamond Beauties that have given us amazing comments. Barbara, the community loves you.
Yeah.
I love you. I was honored that you signed your book. You came and visit my with my daughter's house to my daughter's house, and I met your beautiful husband Dennis, and you signed my copy of my book. How honored! And not only that, oops, I also got a pen with me, and then your personal merchandise. Look the heart, and it says old girl spiritual stuff. So I just wanted to say I had the honor to hug you. And the day I hugged you for the first time, I
Mm.
felt home. I felt we belong together. Thank you for all your magnificence. Thank you for making a difference in the world. Thank you for making a difference in the Diamond Beauties forever. And above everything, thank you so much for your wisdom and also being our Mrs. Spots. You have truly touched so many people's hearts, mine included. And even my grandsons, Zander and Zayden, just love you. So thank you so much. May I ask you, how are you feeling at this moment?
Very good. Um, it's this is who you saw today is really who I am. Warts and all, warts and all. I love the spiritual world. I love everything about my relationship. My teacher made me do 5 years of just connecting with my people before I was allowed to do any work. And just I love my people. I love the angels. I just love everything in I could not imagine what life would be without everything that I'm able to do and to know and to feel. I couldn't imagine a life without spirit.
Mm.
Beautiful. My beautiful Barbara, Krista, Howard, and Laura, will you have a dance with this dancing queen?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
My beautiful viewers and my beautiful diamond beauties, will you put on your shades and have a dance with us? They said yes,
Woo!
they said yes. Here we go.
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away. Smiling at a moonbeam or squinting in the sun. Sprinkle me with fairy dust and cover me with love.
Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
Barbara.